This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello, everybody. Better late than never. This is On Deck. I know I haven't been here in a while, but it's good to be back here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe and comment on all the shows during the week. I know Calvin will have Press Row coming up very soon, and then we should have Entertainment Hour tomorrow, and pretty soon Morning Tailgate should be back, and that's on Sunday mornings around 8 a.m. my time, and I just can't wait to get back to that if I'm allowed on.
You are.
That's going to be fun. I can't wait to talk about football, just because baseball has been not good to me. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm kind of in the same boat where it's like, yeah, we had a great year, for the Rangers last year, but this year not so much. And I kind of figured it was going to be a drop off, but not this big a one. So.
Yeah, it happens with teams that win championship. Like, I can tell you this: in 2002, the Angels won the championship.
Yeah.
But in 2003, they went through some injuries and then some bad performances from people in 2002. They only won, I think it was 75 and 87. And they retooled, though, and they got better right away. They went on a string of divisions and winning championships, or divisional championships, and going to playoffs. So you never know. Either you get back and you're in it every year, or you're a one-year wonder. We'll find out what the Rangers come out of that. Let's get into our team reports. So I'll start off with you, Chris. What's been going on with the Texas Rangers lately? I see they have kind of fallen out of contention, 59 and 69, 10.5 out of the American League West.
Yeah, like we mentioned, it's been a drop-off. But DeGrom, I just got word that he pitched 2 innings today for the first time since April of last year. So that's a good sign.
On rehab start, I see.
Yeah, down here in Frisco, yeah. So, one step closer. Now you're just looking at next year's talent, I guess.
Yeah. I see what link. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, like you said, better late than never.
Yeah. White Langford, I saw, had a walk-off single against the Pirates yesterday. I had him as my Rookie of the Year. I don't know if that's going to happen in the American League or not. We'll see if that would be the case. They begin a road trip in Cleveland, so that's going to be interesting. They have Eovaldi going against BB. And then what's the schedule looking like after that? They have Monday off. Then they face the White Sox, who are chasing history the wrong way. And then they host Oakland at the end of the month. How do you think they'll face against the first place Guardians, last place White Sox, and the fourth place A's?
We should be able to win those 2 games. At least the A's and the White Sox, hopefully, for those 2 matchups.
That'll be interesting. Maybe they could play spoiler to the Guardians because they are in first, but the Twins and the Royals, I should say, are right behind them at 2 games. So maybe you could play spoiler and help out Kansas City or Minnesota. We'll see if that's the case. Hey, Greg is here. How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. We're going through our team reports, and over the weekend I saw the Cardinals. I saw a couple of the games where they were playing the Dodgers, and I know the Cardinals. I think won 6-3, and then I think they won Saturday and lost Sunday. I want to say. But what's your team report on the St. Louis Cardinals?
Well, my Cardinals are sliding a little bit. We're 1 game under 500. We're 5 out of the wild card now. There was a time just 2-3 weeks ago where we were looking like we were heading for a definite chance at maybe a wild card spot. Now we're just kind of drifting off, keep losing ground. So been making a lot of moves. Unfortunately, the Brandon Crawford deal didn't work out. Had to move on from him. He was batting about 165, 170 with just 4 RBIs. It's unfortunate because he was a long time Giant, and I was hoping that at least he'd provide some stability in the dugout a little bit from a leadership standpoint. But moved on from him. Optioning Gorman to a different assignment, moving Jordan Walker to AAA. So the guys that were on the field early this season are now kind of drifting, aren't even with the team, or they're in the minors. So a lot's going on. Now we got a couple of our valuable pitchers that are on the injured list, which isn't helping anything. Lance Lynn's on the 15-day IL. We just kind of seem to be slipping. So it's not looking too good. I liked it better when we were just like about a half game out. Now we're down 5 in the wild card.
Yeah, I'm looking at what has transpired. I know you had some walk-offs recently. I know what was it, Arenado had a grand slam walk-off the other day. I'm seeing, you guys are 10 back in the division, 5 out of the wild card, 3-7 the last 10 games, but have won the last 2. Now, let me ask you this, because Carlos Marmol, your manager, he just signed the extension. Do you think if they miss the playoffs, do you think he can still be let go, or do you think he'll still be around?
I think that he'll still be around. I mean, they're making that commitment to put a package together to sign him to a multiple year contract. He's a young guy. He seems to have the respect in the locker room. I think they're going to plan on bringing him back. I don't think it's going to be one and done for him. I think that that's one thing that the Cardinals want at this point is some kind of stability. I think that they kind of let go of Mike Schilt a little bit too early because he wasn't a bad manager, but he might have not been the right fit. So I think that they're going to give him a little bit longer leash, see what he can do. But there's definitely a lot of cleanup that needs to be done. I think that our GM needs to make some better moves. I think that getting some younger arms definitely helped this season, but there's just been some kind of crazy moves. Picking up an aging veteran like Brendan Crawford, who obviously, his best days are well behind him. And, um, you know, when we got Jordan Walker several years ago, he looked like he was going to be the next best thing, and he's not panning out. Gorman's not hitting the ball well. So basically, in the infield, it's Goldschmidt and Arenado. We don't really have a lot of pop, a lot of consistency in the infield. And then last season we've gotten rid of some of our better outfielders, got rid of Bader, and some of our better bats that we've had with O'Neill and some of those guys, just kind of been trying to I don't know. Our team, it doesn't seem like we're really dialed in and making a lot of good moves. We're kind of taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards sometimes.
Yeah, I noticed that like the Cardinal way has kind of lost their way. They just need some retooling. Probably a good draft will help. Um, just revamping a little free agency. Maybe not bring Goldsmith back would help. I know his numbers are very low. I know he's picked it up just a little bit, but it's weird not to see him do well. What else was I gonna? Yeah, Brandon Crawford. It was so weird to see him in anything other from the black and orange of the Giants, and you would figure somebody out there would go get him. But it was weird because you kept seeing him on the bench. He would never start. It was always Mason Wynn who has done pretty well for his rookie year. So it's weird about the Cardinals, but I think eventually they'll get back into it. The division isn't really going anywhere. The Cubs are kind of retooling on the fly. The Brewers, you figure you didn't really know what they were going to be. Adames might leave in free agency. The Pirates are building up. And then the Reds should have been in the race, but they aren't as
The
much
Reds
anymore.
I think the Reds are going to be a very dangerous team.
Yeah.
I think that their general manager has been fairly aggressive. They have De La Cruz, India. They have some good speed guys. They have some really good contact guys. They have a phenomenal young pitching staff with Laloto, Abbott, and Green. So I think that if they can get a little bit more pop in the lineup, I think they're going to be very dangerous. Unfortunately, a mid-market team, that whole division is all mid-market, so you're not going to see them probably go out and spend money like the Dodgers and the Yankees every year to try to put together a big-time lineup. But I think the Reds are honestly just a couple really decent hitters away from making something happen.
It's so true, and sometimes spending that much money isn't good, and it kind of shows sometimes. Look at the Mariners, what they've done, but okay, let's get to my team reports. Yikes! The Angels off the field today extended the general manager Perry Manassian through 2026. He had one year left in his contract this season, and Ron Washington, the new manager, will be going on his final year next season. Perry, Manassian, he's brought in some young talent. He's made some trades, but there were some he shouldn't have or should have. But it was good that he made a few trades that worked out this year. So he's kind of redeemed himself in that way, and I think some stability would be good for the Angels somewhere in the organization other from ownership. On the field, yikes. The Angels are now in last place, 54-74, 20 games under 500. That's a new record for them this year. 15.5 games out of first place, 17.5 out of the wild card. 2-8 in their last 10 games. They have lost 2 straight. On the field, they're starting a 4-game series this week, and they lost to the Blue Jays 5-3. They were down 5-0 right away in the second. They lost 2 out of 3 in Kansas City, and then before that, lost 2 out of 3 at home versus the Atlanta Braves. And that was at Friday's game. I did predict a home run, and they luckily scored another to get the lead in the win. But after that, not even close. And before that, though, they were swept by the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays are seeing them again. So they've had a hellish kind of a month here. After Detroit, after Toronto, they have Monday off. They go to Detroit for 3, and then back home against Seattle. And we'll have more news about Seattle coming up. So that's really the news about the Angels. Again, they're trying to play the season out with all these young guys, but the veterans aren't really doing their thing, which has really hurt. So it's been really bad, let's just say, for the Angels. So some notable series this week. You had the Mets and Orioles playing, Red Sox, Astros, what was it? The Dodgers, and of course the Mariners, the Twins, and Padres. You had so many games that were meaningful in the playoff series. Yankees and Guardians were another one, but the Yankees, took that apart. Phillies and Braves were really good, and then Cardinals and Brewers. I saw the Cardinals, of course, got the 10-6 win yesterday. So there were so many series that you could point out and say, were important. For me, I guess I would say, for me, I thought the Mets and Orioles series was really important. For the Mets, though, because they need to stay pace with the Atlanta Braves, and the Orioles are trying to get that first place, but the Yankees keep winning, and the Orioles try to stay with them. Chris, I'll start with you. Out of the series I mentioned, which series stood out to you of how it went?
Nothing really stood out. I mean, I think we're getting down to the last few weeks and month or so, and I think a lot of games, a lot of teams need to improve and get better if they want to make the playoff.
How about you, Greg? I noticed I was looking at that Phillies Braves series. It kind of went back and forth. But what stood out to you maybe about the Brewers and the Cardinals series?
Well, the thing is, even though the Brewers, they've definitely been playing the best baseball in the division consistently, throughout the season. This is a very heated rivalry between the Brewers and the Cardinals. So anytime that the Brewers and Cardinals are playing, you can expect to have a lot of good competitive play. And so whether, my Cardinals are kind of itching and scratching, trying to get back into the wild card. The Brewers are trying to stay on top. I think that both teams have kind of been, kind of injury riddled as of late. The Cardinals are definitely taking a hit with their starting pitching with Matz and Lynn being out, and then the Brewers, um, they end up getting someone healthy, and then someone gets injured. Then they get that person back, and then someone else goes down. So you're looking at two teams that's been kind of fighting the injury bug. The Brewers have been playing a little bit better through all their adversity and their injuries. This season, but I think that it's always exciting. Even if my Cardinals were like 20 games out and having just a ridiculously bad season, there's always one team there's always one team, two teams. They're always going to get up for the Cubs, and they're always going to get up for the Brewers. So I really enjoy watching the Cards and Brewers play because they always seem to. Every now and then there might be a fight that breaks out, but it gets really competitive, and you see some pretty hard-nosed play, regardless of their standings.
Speaking of standings, good segue into the review of these. Now, I mentioned Houston. They're 5.5 ahead now of Seattle in the AL West, and just a lot of people thought Houston was dead, but I didn't. I thought they would come back and they would find the veteran know-how to win, plus with the young guys there.
They're getting their arms back. I think that's
and that thing. Too.
Yeah.
And they just got someone we'll talk about later. Texas 10.5 behind in that West. Oakland 14.5, and the Angels 15.5. For that AL East, it's fun. The Yankees are leading the Orioles by 1.5 games. Boston 7 games out. Tampa Bay in 4th at 10.5. Toronto at 15. AL Central is so much fun. I thought only one team would come out of the playoffs from here. Obviously, the divisional winner, but Cleveland leads Kansas City and Minnesota by only 2 games. A lot of fun. Detroit 11.5, and the White Sox 42.5 out. They are 31-97. It's unbelievable to see that. In the National League East, you have the Phillies leading the Braves by only 6 games. It's not over yet. The Mets only 8 games back there. Washington 16.5, and Miami 28 games out. I mentioned the Central. Milwaukee leads St. Louis by 10. Chicago 10.5 games back. Fourth place Cincinnati at 11.5. And the Pirates, who seemed to be in it about a month ago, have fallen all the way to 13 games back. Just crazy how that's gone. The Dodgers have kind of recouped in a way. They lead the National League West over Arizona and San Diego by 4 games. The Padres are playing right now. San Francisco's 11.5 out, and Colorado is 29. Now for the wild cards, real quick. Baltimore leads the first wild card by 2 games, and then you have Kansas City and Minnesota tied for the second and third spot. Boston is the only one with a real chance. They're 3.5 out. As I mentioned, Tampa Bay is 7 out, and Seattle has fallen all the way to 7.5 out. I mean, it seemed like about 3 weeks ago they were right in the thick of things, and they even acquired a Rosarina from the Rays, and the Rays have overtaken them record-wise. I can't explain that.
And they got rid of Eflin too.
That's right. Eflin went to the Orioles, I want to say.
They had a fire sale and they got better.
That's just weird. And only the Rays could do that. Only the Rays could do that. The NL wild card, the Diamondbacks are ahead of the Padres slightly. Oh, no, they're tied. 3.5, both ahead of the Atlanta Braves. And then the Mets are only 2 games out of that wild card spot. San Francisco 4, St. Louis 5, Chicago 5.5, and then you have Cincinnati at 6.5. So I'm thinking to myself, I think the wild card positions are going to stay the way they are. The only thing is, I think San Diego will eventually jump Arizona. They lost Marte to another injury. And then I think the Braves will hold off the Mets for the National League wild card. And I have to believe Baltimore will keep the first wild card spot if they don't get first place from New York. And then Kansas City and Minnesota will stay where they are, and Boston won't get in. Kansas City, though, I do have to mention about them real quick. They have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. I think they play Cleveland one time. They play the Yankees. Oh, this weekend, by the way, they play the Philadelphia Phillies. That's a huge series for both. That's in Kansas City. Then they play in Cleveland for 4 games. They have a doubleheader on Monday. I don't know why, but they do. And then they go to Houston for 3. So this is a tough 9-game stretch for the Royals at the end of this month here in August. Unbelievable schedule what they have to go through. And this is their off day today, by the way, for Kansas City. Greg, so do you think the wild cards are going to stay the way they are right now? Or do you think someone jumps in who's out?
I think that the Orioles are going to. I think that they're going to overtake the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to end up probably with the number 1 wild card. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Yankees, but I think that just with what Baltimore's done by picking up Eflin, picking up Flaherty, still have Burns in the lineup. There's plenty of pop in that lineup. They're one of the youngest teams in the league, and they know how to score runs. I know that they've been hot and cold lately. They haven't been too consistent. Same with the Phillies. Phillies have just been kind of lukewarm at best, since the All-Star break. But I think that as far as the American League, I think that the Orioles are going to find a way to maybe come out with the division and push the old Bronx Bombers back into the wild card. I hate to see Seattle drifting as much as they have, because they've had a really good season up until about 2-3 weeks ago, and then They made a few moves, but they're still in need. I mean, they're still one of the softest hitting teams in the league. That's been their downfall, is they just don't have a whole lot of pop in their lineup. They have decent pitching, but then, it seems like every third game or so, Castillo gives up a lot of runs. So they don't really have that one lockdown pitcher that a couple of the teams in the American League have, with like a Garrett Cole, that can kind of shut you down day in and day out. But I think that for the American League, I think that if the Padres can keep pounding, I think that they're going to get the top spot. They've been playing.
Well, Chris, I guess
Oh,
we'll go to you since he's gone. Maybe he'll get back on.
uh-huh.
But yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think the wild cards will stay the same the way that they are?
I think it will. I mean, you might see different positionings, maybe up or down, but maybe the teams are locked in, just not in positioning. I mean, as far as who's going to be in the playoffs.
I just don't know if any of those will get back in. Oh, here we go. Greg's back. So my guess is maybe what'd you say? The wild cards will stay just about the same. The Mariners are going off or going down, I should say.
Mariners are going down. I mean, you can almost stick a fork in them. They just don't seem to have enough offensive firepower. I thought that maybe they'd have enough pitching to kind of get them over the top, but unfortunately, you got to put some runs up, and they just don't seem to be able to really give enough run support consistently to really make any big time ground. Houston is a team that puts the ball in play. They have good contact hitters. They don't strike out, and their pitching staff is coming to life. People are getting off the injured reserves and everything, and then the guys that have been filling have been pitching well. So Houston's making moves because they're just driving in runs. And just kind of playing really sound baseball defensively and offensively. I think that the Phillies are going to I think it's going to be very, very close in the division just because the Phillies have been slipping so hard. But I think that they made such a huge run early in the season playing phenomenal baseball until the All-Star break that I think that they're going to maybe get past the Braves and keep about a 1 to 2 game lead, and force the Braves into a wild card spot.
Yeah, we'll see if all that happens. I think, Chris, you mentioned already. So let's get to some of our main topics this year, or this week, I should say. Joey Votto officially retired. He played 17 seasons. Chris, if you have that picture, can you put that up of him? There was a quote he had, but
Let's see.
he's always been a really cool guy, really fun and out there, especially since he went on social media. Yeah, again, he played 17 seasons. He was part of the Reds since 2007. He tried to lock on here with the Blue Jays, and he's from Canada, of course, in the minors, but I don't think he could have made it. First baseman all those years, 2,135 hits, 356 home runs. His batting average was 294. His WAR at 64.5, and always seemed like he was a tough out when he was up there. He didn't get cheated when he was up there. He was an MVP once. He was a 6-time All-Star. That MVP year, I want to say was, 2013. I want to say, but oh yeah, the real will go with first, I guess. Yeah, he has some moments.
Is his quote.
Oh, there was a quote. I know that. But yeah, he tried with the Jays this year,
Yeah,
but he
I have
couldn't
the
get
quote.
it. Oh, you have the quote. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it says, maybe it's his moment.
Yeah, that's the
I
moment.
don't know. I thought
I could
read it.
I could
Okay.
read it though, and then we could play the
Okay.
what do you call it? The quote. I mean, play the video. But he mentioned he's in the car. He's on an Uber, driving to the stadium right now. And the Uber driver asked him, "Are you a player?" And then he said no. He always was quirky like
Yeah.
that. Like there's times, a
I
couple of
get
times,
it. I
yeah,
get it.
where he had a foul ball come to him at first base, and I think in Philly and at Wrigley, he would fake to throw the ball. Well, no, at Dodger Stadium, I think he did twice where he faked to throw it, and he threw it back to the dugout. Then in Wrigley Field, he actually threw it over the first base side roof because it's a shorter, older ballpark. But I couldn't believe when he did that. He was quirky with the fans all the time. Man, but he would get ejected a lot too. So it was that part of that Canadian nature with him. As you could see in a MLB, I think it was Intentional Talk one show, he was dressed up as a Mountie, I think it's
I was
called.
gonna say, yeah.
And that was in St. Louis at the time. And he was just amazing to watch. And the Reds, I think one more moment I remember about him is that he was injured and out for the season. He would go, be an interview with the broadcast team during the Reds game, and then he actually walked around in a throwback jersey, not of his but someone else, and signed autographs for people and took pictures with people. He was all over the place. He was great. So, how will you remember him, Greg, being in that NL Central?
When you see a guy that puts in about 17, 18 years with one franchise, you hate to see them move on, kind of like Brandon Crawford tried to do, after playing all those years with the Giants. I love it when you can see a guy play his whole career with one team, like a Cal Ripken Jr. or Tony Gwynn. Type person, one franchise player. So he's a guy that gave his heart and soul. He was a good guy for the community. Racked up a lot of good hits. He had power to all fields. I mean,
Yeah.
he could smack it to left. He could smack it to center. He could pull when he had to. And he was just a guy that could spray it all over the place. He had decent handles with the glove. He was a true, he had a couple really, really phenomenal seasons. There wasn't hardly anybody better that you could say, was better than him for a couple prime years. Um, so he's a guy that unfortunately didn't win a World Series, but he gave it all. He came out to play every day. He played hard. He was a quirky guy, very eccentric type of guy, but he seemed to be a guy that was also very personable at times with reporters and fans. So I think that he's going to be missed, and it's unfortunate that he got released and didn't get picked up again by the Reds. I think that obviously his best days were definitely behind him, but I would have loved to see him, maybe grind out another season with the Reds and then call it a day, or just retired last year. Because I think that when a player kind of holds on just a hair long, it just kind of tarnishes a little bit of their reputation,
Definitely. Chris, how about you? And then after that, we could play the video.
No, I mean, he was one of those players that love to have fun. I know they all do, but he seemed like one of the ones that seemed to have a lot of fun. And yeah, they play a quote unquote, kids game, but he just made it fun for the fans and people that were watching it. So he's going to be missed for all of his, antics and his personality, I think.
And one thing I hope to see him sometime in a broadcast booth or just part of something with baseball going forward. All right, so let's check out some of these moments that we had with Joey Votto in the MLB. I know there's maybe like 3 or 4 here, and I think I've seen them all. We'll see. Yeah, the volume's okay to have.
Earlier tonight, and after the home run,
I mean, look at that. Even with the enemy, they love them.
Now remember that Joey Votto made friends with a young fan earlier tonight, and after the home run, they high-fived.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Here's another one.
And there's a long drive off the bat of Joey Votto. Forget about this one. Way up the bleachers in right field. Home run number 34 for Votto. And it's 5-2 Cincinnati.
That's the power Greg was mentioning.
He has the power.
I mean, just straight to him. High five for the young man in the front row.
Oh,
Gets
that's
that
right.
screen.
I remember that one.
Nice gesture there by Joey Votto.
Joey Votto at it again. Young girl Jean Parks, 12 years old from here in Phoenix, holding a sign.
Oh, yeah,
Joey
yeah,
Votto,
yeah.
will you make a TikTok with me? Well, being the social media icon that he is nowadays, look at him. They went through a little routine. What are we going to do? All right, this is the gritty dance. And he obliged. Joey Votto at it again. Young girl Jean Parks, 12 years.
The final out. Nope.
Oh, here it is. What I was talking about.
Foul. Look at Votto having some fun down there. I mean, that's really funny. The fans are
So you're not
gonna
getting
boo
that
him,
ball.
I mean, he's teeing
Gonna
them
throw
up
it
right
back
in first
to the
inning. He was
dugout.
sprinting after the ball when it was rolling down the line. Take a look at this. This is going to go to a fan, okay?
Yep.
And he's like, nope, I'm going to go get it. And the final out.
I mean, who else
Nope.
does that?
Whether it's the fog in San Francisco, whether it's, at times the shadows can be a factor here in Cincinnati. The wind in Chicago.
Do you like that variety?
I love it. I love it. I love that there's no uniformity to our game. It's my favorite part about our sport. I think we've got a monopoly on the summer. I think we're blue skies and green grass and baseball caps, and you can sit and putt around on your phone. You can have a beer, whether it's the fog in San Francisco.
See, I'll tell you, he's
91
good in the
years
booth.
young. First game
Wow.
here for number 19. And he lifts to deep right. Soler looking up, and that's going to carry. Back-to-back for the Redlegs. And she got to see Votto hit one out. 91 years young.
Hope she did.
First game
That's awesome.
Oh, here it is.
on a foul ball to
Watch
left and a foul
this.
ball wide of first. And this time
Shoom.
Votto will throw it all the way on the roof. Yes. And here it comes.
It did roll
Joey
back. That's
threw a
right.
changeup up there last night. He's having fun. Yeah, I love it. Good for him.
I've always wanted to do that or see that.
Hey, keep
Where a
him
player
under,
gets so
Cowboy.
pissed
Right?
that they throw the ball up
Nothing in
there.
two.
I think I've seen it
Foul.
once during the Angel game, but watching it though. All right, so
And
that
that
was
was great.
cool. Some other news: Hector Neris will be resigning, although it's yet to be confirmed, with the Houston Astros. He's a veteran reliever. He was in the bullpen of the 2022 team that won it all. He was released by the Cubs on Tuesday. He did not really fare well he did. 35 years old, right-hander. Was a free agent in the offseason, made 46 appearances for the Cubs in 24, 17 saves and a 3.89 ERA, 46 strikeouts in 44 innings. I don't know why the Cubs got rid of him, but the Astros will love to have him. Any comments about that?
About
Hector Neris. He was good to go back to somewhere where they know him. That's for sure.
yeah, I think it's always interesting when teams make those kinds of moves, but maybe he'll land back on his feet.
Speaking of moves and DFAing, The Dodgers DFA'd Jason Hayward and activated Chris Taylor. Now, the odd part about this, Chris, on Tuesday night, Jason Hayward hit what would come out to be the game-deciding 3-run home run, 6-3 over the Mariners for the Dodgers, off of one of the strongest throwing closers in the game. And then 2 days later, they DFA him. I just do not understand that. It is part of the game. Like we were talking about somebody getting DFA'd earlier. Or no, I did on my other show. But he only hit 208 with 6 home runs, 63 games with the Dodgers this year. He also had injuries that limited his availability. He was with the Dodgers last year as well. And they gave out a bobblehead of his this year with the City Connect jerseys as well.
And he's not with the team?
And no, he's been DFA'd. So they have 10 days to figure out what they want to do with him. Either trade him, or they can't trade him, but release him, waive him, or put him down in the minors, or see if someone else will claim him. But it's just weird. He had a game-winning home run 2 days ago. And then 2 days later, we have to release you. I don't get what the Dodgers are doing here. And I think go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, I think they're probably like, you know what? We're in the lead, like a lot in the lead. And we can afford to take away a player.
Yeah, but they're only 4 games above in first place, I should say.
Yeah. They figure like it's a substantial.
And because Mookie Betts is back as well, now he can play the outfield. They had him at shortstop, but that takes so much on him to go back and forth that they're putting Betts back in right field. The big news about today: Scott Servais was fired from the Seattle Mariners. One of his best friends, Jerry Dipoto, his GM, fired the manager, Scott Servais, today. Dan Wilson, the former catcher, will replace him. I guess he's well liked in the organization. As we mentioned, Seattle, they're 6 games out of the wild card now, or more. I can't remember what it was, but there's so many games out now they're 5.5 of Seattle. I mean of the division, and 7.5 out of the wild card. They just needed a new voice. I guess Servais was not being listened to anymore by the players, and you see this in all sports too.
Yeah,
it's amazing to see that. But what do you think about the shakeup today from Seattle?
Yeah, that's interesting because they're doing really good towards the All-Star break and even a little bit after the All-Star break. And yeah, things haven't gone their way. I think Houston leapfrogged them, but they're still having a good productive season. But I don't mind, kind of like what the Patriots do at times is, a player's not working, we're gonna cut him. If they didn't play good this game, we're cut him right here.
Totally.
They're not afraid, and I kind of like teams that kind of do that. Yeah, it's unconventional and all that, but it shows you're not playing. You want to.
And then the part of news I have, the MLB is contemplating starting next season possibly a 6-inning requirement for starting pitchers, unless they're over 100 pitchers, they gave up 4 earned runs, or there's an injury. But the thing is, they have to go right on the IL, right that moment after the game. I don't think it's going to work, Chris. Despite being old school, I want to see the starting pitchers go 6 or 7 innings. But I don't think. I think there's already too much stress on pitchers already, with the pitch clock and the pitch count and the new pitches they have to learn and their arm. You see how many elbow injuries there are already in the game, and just seems like this would not work to me. It's just another thing the players would not like. What do you think about this?
How long are they on on the injured list?
It'll probably be depending on the injury, so it'd probably be 10 days. So they'll miss 2 starts if they fake an injury. They would have to miss 2 starts, according to the rules I would bring up. So, and remember too that 3 batter rule. 1 pitcher has to face 3 batters.
Yeah.
So there's already a rule in place already going against the pitchers, along with the pitch clock.
A lot of this is going back to the NBA load management.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Load management. The MLB is looking at the NBA like, how can we incorporate this? Well,
Yeah.
I guess that it won't work.
All right. So if you got the reels ready, we were first talking about the Mets and how they've had some walk-off wins lately, and they were pimping out their walk-offs. It was their catcher, I think, on Tuesday, and then yesterday it was Jesse Winkler on Wednesday. So, or Monday night they had a walk-off, and Wednesday afternoon they did. And it just seemed like it was too much, according to some baseball fanatics who are older, let's just say. I don't know, Chris, how you feel, but after we play the reel, I'll ask you if it was too much or not, the way Winkler was celebrating. But it's just a team like the Mets right now. They're kind of they've always been the underdogs, other from when they've won twice or been competitive. But this year, they've been so back and forth. They've been out of it. They're still in it somehow.
You said Gary Coleman?
Cohen.
Cohen. Is that who you're talking about?
Let me see the reel and if it comes up.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Did you watch the convention, Chris?
Hold on 1 second.
Good. Carry on. I'm gonna take a shower.
Okay, I'm looking it up. I had to go through all of the.
That's true. I did have a lot.
It's okay.
It was the first one after the
All right. Here you go.
First one after the photos I sent you.
I think it's coming up. Oh, okay. Yeah, then I did.
Oh, this is different
This
one,
one?
but we'll stick with this one if you want to replay it.
Pitch of the it is smacked through the hole, a base hit. That'll score an Alonso, and Alvarez pulls in at second with an RBI single for Tyrone Taylor. The Mets now lead 3-0 against the Baltimore Orioles in the 4th. 65th pitch.
That was cool,
This
Chris.
was the kid broadcaster, right?
Yeah, that kid's got a future. I mean, he sounds like he belongs in there already. I mean, that's awesome. I would take him with the Angels, replace who's on TV right now with this kid. I totally would. All right, let's play a random game. Whatever reel you want to put up next, do it. I'll try to figure out what it was.
All right. Let's see here. I didn't watch them, but I was kind of looking through them, and
I just want to see
this
which
one
ones I have
caught my eye.
or gave. Oh, hell yeah. Here we go. So this play is from it's the late 2010s. The Tigers have kind of fallen off, and they're having a bad night so far. And the fans are just pissed because they're not winning anymore, just like the Angels. They have the longest playoff drought with the Angels, by the way. So whenever you want to play it.
Okay.
There's a high fly.
And that's
ball.
Marcus Simeon,
Shallow
by the way, at the plate.
Center field. Collins can't find it. Here comes Upton now, and it's going to drop. Collins never saw it. And the runner will go to second and now third because the ball is still standing there. By the time Collins picked it up, Simeon went all the way to third. That is not looking pretty good.
Not really sure what happened. It seems like
He was a junior, too.
Uh-oh.
I've always wanted to see somebody do that, like flip off the fans or throw the ball over the roof so the fans can get it. And we saw it twice today.
He did a little Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's it. Yeah.
Flipping the bird.
Yep.
He always did that. Let's see here. Here we go. You might know this one.
Okay, let's see this and put the audio for this one, because this one is nobody catches it for a second until later on.
1-1 pitch. Perez launches this one out to left center. And the wind, oh my goodness, going to knock it down.
He thought that was gone.
So did I. Malloy makes the catch. Perez, I think, still thinks it's out.
Oh, he
He's
does.
going around the bases.
He thinks it's gone. Oh, no.
Got 2. 1-1 pitch.
Now,
Only
Chris,
in minor leagues. Only in minor
yeah.
leagues.
Now, Chris, that the players are going to get on him. Everybody's going to get on him. His family back home is going to get on him. You never see that. Only in the minors, though, you'll see something like that. I think that scoreboard also had something to do with it, how big it was and how big the board is on the wall. You never see that in the major leagues. And maybe the outfielder thought the outfielder, it was kind of, what do you call it, blocked out for his view to see if it was caught or not. I think that had something to do with it, too.
Well, and I think when you was going around the bases, you could see the pitch clock, 27, 26.
I didn't even notice that. Wow.
It was like, if I saw that, it's like, wait, it's counting down. I'm confused.
And I think this was against the Gwyneth Braves and the Memphis Redbirds. So the Braves and the Cardinals AAA affiliates, by the way.
They should get an extra half point depending on which affiliate wins in the standings.
That would be something. Now you
gotta have both teams.
Okay, before you play this, you can put the audio on, but before you play this, I gotta explain what the hell is going on. So this is like 1972. This is the Cardinals and Cubs, a heated rivalry. So things are different. Old school baseball, right? Umpires not taking any crap from anyone. And chaos just ensues. It was just crazy what gone on in this video. Okay, so a batter is arguing with the umpire, and then another batter is coming up, but the umpire goes back to home plate and just starting the at-bat without the batter ready to go. That's how I can explain this. It's just chaos, and this umpire just lost control of the whole situation, to be honest with you. Here we go.
Pretty wild shot. Now both.
See, look at that. He says, "Let's play ball," and there's a strike that was literally a ball up high. But that's the next batter. The manager is standing right there in the box. And the batter is standing outside the box right there. Okay, go on.
He calls a strike on him.
And then watch this. The on-deck batter comes on.
Now wait a minute.
And then a fight breaks out.
Now Ted Simmons is getting into
with Ted Simmons and the other Cubs.
And down they go as the bench is clear. Not allowed to chat with him.
Now, okay, that batter with the bat was arguing with the umpire, I think.
Yeah.
And then the batter that was supposed to come up got up there and said, "Hey, I'm missing my at-bat, and they're starting the at-bat without me, and there's already strike one." And then words are said. The umpire probably said, "You should have been in the box. Why are both of you in my face?" Just, again, I would bet the umpire got, a fine or something or suspension from the league back then. Even back then, I think that was just awful.
One kind of like one of the comments. Back in the good old days, We went to school with Madlock, great athlete, really good running back, and baseball player. Good guy too.
Yeah, Madlock, he ended up, I think, being with the Pirates and the Dodgers, I want to say, if that's the third baseman I'm thinking of. But, yeah, that was just out of hand by the umpire. Totally stupid.
I wouldn't say good times. Good times.
Just because there's no more, like, fights anymore, I don't think. You never see any legitimate runs. Yeah.
Let's see.
I think there's a couple
here
more.
You go. Yeah, there is. I was making sure I'm not doing duplicates. Okay, here's another one. It's a heartwarming one.
Oh, yeah. And I never knew this was going on, to be honest with you.
Raising money for Make-A-Wish. Today, Aton will break the official record here at Citi Field with his 40th first pitch, securing him a spot in the Guinness World Record book. Our ceremonial catcher today is Tyrone Taylor. All right, let's make history, Aton. It's your pitch. Let's hear it for Aton Levine.
That's awesome.
So
I like how he was hyping up the crowd.
So if you could go back up with the whole window. Okay, so the man is a childhood cancer survivor, and he's a comedian, Ethan Levine, and he set a world record for ceremonial first pitches thrown in a season, throwing his 40th at the Mets game on Wednesday. He's gone from minor league ballparks to major league ballparks, raising money for Make-A-Wish Foundation. So, yeah, I had to get that in. That's something you never see because it's never been done before. I think he got the idea probably from Tom Grossi, if you know that YouTuber, that Packer fan went to go visit every stadium, and he did it for charity. And he went out and met people and all that during the off season this year. But it's something like that. And now this guy turned it into this. That was pretty cool.
You know, I've heard stuff like that. I think there's a guy in Canada who wanted to visit all of the CFL stadiums for football.
There's like what?
Nine of them.
There's only 9. Oh, that's right.
Still, I mean, he wanted to accomplish that.
That's a lot of providences, though. And Canada's a big country.
Yeah.
That is true.
I think there's another one. Let's see here.
How about one last more?
Yeah, I think there is one more.
Okay. Because we're at the hour, almost at the hour mark. We'll end it after this.
There we go. I think I'll let you set it up.
Oh, okay. So this is Joey Votto. His last at bat last season, but his last at bat of his career. So what we remembered him by is this. And again, we talked about him officially retiring last year, but this was his official last at bat in the major leagues. And he, again, like I mentioned, he got ejected plenty, I think, in his career. This again was against the Cardinals on a Sunday, as you could tell.
How can you tell? Just
the down there, the Cardinals, they're in a blue window right there on the scorecard, on the scoreboard, and then they're wearing the blue hats. The blue hats with the red trim, and they do that every Sunday. Yeah. And I wish the Angels would do that. I really do.
Huh.
And then this year, I got to mention it. Every game 162 starts at the same time at 12:10. This year, like they did last year.
Oh, okay.
And we could have some real drama this season with all the wild cards going on. So keep that in mind for the last game of the year.
Okay.
Major league career.
So he takes ball 1. And somehow that's a strike, 1-1.
What this
Then he came out after the inning was over. He says, "Throw me out. It's the last game of my last game. Make it memorable too."
something going on here. Joey Votto.
He's like, "I had a good career. I just wanted to do it one more time."
Conversation with our umpires.
Handshake, handshake. This is how I end my career.
That was the calmest argument ever.
And you hear the fans, because that's all they knew of him was his rage sometimes. But yeah, that was the calmest ejection I've ever seen. Although they could have not shown what happened before that because they were in commercial. But for even the umpires to allow him to like touch him, for him to touch them just for a little and say, "Hey, my fault, my fault. Okay, I've had a good career. Later, bye."
Well, no, I'm sure they talked about it.
Sure.
So, like I remember in the Pro Bowl, Jeff Saturday, he was on the NFC side, but Peyton Manning was on the AFC side. And they like to have a little fun. So he moved over to the AFC side and snapped the ball for Manning one last
Oh,
time.
that's right.
So, I mean, stuff like that. I'm sure they had a conversation. So,
all right, Chris, we'll end it here. Give us your final thought.
Thanks, everyone, for watching and, tuning in. Kicking It will be on tonight. So, a lot of fun and laughter and who knows what else. I don't know. But
definitely
a lot of stuff going on, and just join us next time for another On Deck.
I'm just here for the food or the would you try this
I'm
food.
I'm just here not to get fined.
That too. Or ejected. Be sure to tune in for Entertainment Hour tomorrow, and then whatever else Coast to Coast has in store coming up. Press Row with Calvin McClurg as well. And we'll see you next time. Again, a reminder, Kicking It will be on half an hour exactly from now. So just stick around. Don't strand too far. Stick around. We're Kicking It. We'll be here.
Yep.
We're not going to leave I'm leaving my chair, but we'll be here for Kicking It with everyone else. We'll see you then. Take care, folks. Bye.